Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on this sunny, lovely day here in Munich, and I do hope that in your premises it is sunny and lovely as well. My name is Udo Schneider and I'm the Sales Director at Mirasys. Last time some of you has asked me to buy a better microphone, so I invested a lot and spent a lot of money for this headset, so I do hope that it improves your audio. Today we are presenting the theme using text data acquisition. Before we start, I would like to give you some homework. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please use and type them into the question box in your Teams control panel. So I'll bring them up at the end of this presentation or during the presentation, depending on where they are available. And we will answer all your questions at the end, either in this webinar or afterwards via email. So it is also important that you give us your email address so that we can stay in contact with you. All right, let's move to our topic today, using text data acquisition. So it won't be an in-depth learning course today so that you understand at the end or you know how to implement this into your VMS. But it should give you an overview of what you can do with text channels in our VMS and how you can use it and sell it to your customer. This function is available on VMS since I can think, so it's not a new stuff. But it's never or very seldom used, and that's very sad because this is one of the biggest highlights that we have in our video management system. So I honestly would say, let's stay tuned, let's check what we can do with that, and let's bring it to customer to bring them more attraction on Mirasys. All right. What is text data acquisition? What does it mean? So I want to share with you something. Yep. So indeed, it's nothing else than text data capture that is configurable on our VMS. So our VMS is fitted with text data channels that can be recorded, and we can connect the third-party system to our VMS to receive information from the third-party system. It manages this interface, it manages the transaction via TCP/IP, UDP connection, serial interfaces like RS-232, RTSP, or receiving information from an HTTP client or HTTP server. So in that case, a very sophisticated tool. It receives ASCII messages as well as XML formatted messages. So the way how it is doing this is very simple. It sniffs to a resource or to a source that you can configure and receiving all these messages, all this information. Interesting is also that you can validate this information. So you could imagine if you, for example, have connected a POS system via our RS-232 interface, and you're receiving all this ball data from the cache machine, for example, the product X, product Epsilon, the price of product, the number of products that are scanned, and the bill number, etc., etc. And you just want to receive the information when somebody is making a store note. Then it's very important that you validate this information and can identify these events out of this massive load of data that you want to receive. And therefore, we have also validation possibilities. I would kindly refer, if you want to have more in-depth information about this, to get the Universal Data Driver Guide from us. So everything is in this, and it's very simple to use. Why we have invested into this text channel recording in our VMS. So you can imagine if you have a chat with your customer and your customer is saying, okay, I'm receiving videos, but I want to search, for example, also on the data from an access control system. When somebody is putting his card on a card reader, when he's opening a door or whatever, So could you do this? You need to think about integrations. And I remember the time when I was working for different vendors, when I was asking for an integration for a specific system, there were always the same questions. How big is the project? And what is the market capability? And at the end, when the project was not big enough or the market capability was not big enough, they said, no, we don't want to do this because it's too much effort or it costs too much. So there must be an easier way to get messages via the standard interfaces. And that's why we have invested into this text data channel acquisition. And the second thing, or the second item, is really we can use this also for better searching in videos. So you can remember if we are getting information from an access control system that this person and this person has used this card or this door, we can easily search by this text information and then relate the relevant videos to it. So it's much quicker to identify the relevant video out of this massive load of data. Okay, nevertheless, I would give you some examples. Sorry. So the first example I have is from it's an archive from a proof of concept that we have done for police cars. So what you see here is a car fitted with a front camera, a rear camera, an inside camera, and the customer has also required to fit his police officers with Bluetooth microphones and also receiving the GPS raw data from a GPS antenna GPS receiver. So all this stuff was recorded on a mobile recorder. And if I'm running this video right now, so you see moving pictures. So what you cannot hear is the audio because I haven't said anything there. And here the information that are coming from the GPS antenna into our system, and they are recorded. So in that case, the customer just wanted to have the raw data, not the correct position or any content out of it, because he wants to handle it in a third-party system. So in that case, it was fairly enough. Okay, let's close this, giving you another example how it is working. So I'm opening Spotter here. So what you can see here right now next to the videos is a demo channel. So, and I've connected my sender. This is a TCP sending application to my recorder. And what I can do here is now I can type in the text. I have done this already, and I can send it to my demo channel. And you see this information is already appearing. So I can do this several times. I can write in here Anna, for example, send it out. You see Anna is appearing. So maybe my name, Udo. Tom. I'm opening and closing the door several times, for example. And then let's have Paul as well here. Yeah, so he's entering the room as well. So you see the system is now recording this text information via TCP IP and this port. This is just an example for a demo, honestly. This could be also, as I said, an access control system or whatever you can imagine. All right, what can we do with this information? In this case, they are not validated. You see here, there are no events appearing. So validation is really for creating events and alarms out of this information. So it is not done here, so I have no XML file which is configured behind this. This is just the raw data. So but I can use it anyway also for searching. So I'm opening the text data search, for example. And you see here, you can choose the demo channel. And then, for example, you can, in the same way, move a video to this and a camera, maybe a second camera as well. Yeah. And then we can say here, okay, I want to search for text events in this demo channel. You can search for all, then you're getting all this information, or you say, okay, it should contain following text. and I'm saying Paul. I want to search for Paul. I'm searching, and you remember I have once written Paul. So if I'm double clicking to this right now, it shows you Paul was recorded, and it also moved the recordings from these videos to the time when Paul was recorded in the text channel. And then you can start the recording, replay, or whatever you want. You can do the same with all this information, for example. And you see here now, the first information that was sent was containing 5 names. So they're also here combined as a text event. And now you can click on Udo, for example, and it's automatically moving the videos that I'm put in here to the right time. So I can add another one here. So, and then it's doing the same with all these videos, with this information when I'm clicking on one of the events. So even if you are not validating the information, you're just receiving the raw data, you can search within this and relate videos to it. Very flexible, very easy. So how it is looking like in the System Manager? Let's have a look to this. So in the System Manager, you're going to the Recorder tab, and you see here the text channels. So I'm opening the settings, and you see here, for example, there's a barcode scanner. It's not connected right now because I cannot show it to you. And here is our demo channel. So I'm opening the configuration, for example, and you see here that I have chosen, first of all, a TCP model. So if I'm opening this, the different drivers, you see here different drivers for serial modules, UDP, TCP, you see a barcode reader, some already done installations. Also here, some other models down to the HTTP model, RTSP, proxy, HTTP servers, etc., etc. So you can choose whatever you want. And then I simply put in the port so that I can communicate. And then you see here also the validation. Actually, there is no validation, but it could be also an XSD file, a text information, or a customized XML file that you can use for validating out of the volume of data that you are getting real events. And those events can then be used to trigger alarms in our system, but it's another story. So that would be a new webinar for in that case. So I leave it like it is right now. So I close this again. So then you see also here that you have a lot of text channels, up to 64 per recorder. So what are the advantages? Again, it lowers your costs for implementation by simply communicating via standard interfaces to third-party systems. It gives you a better flexibility to answer to your customers and his requirements. And it makes you also a bit independent on our development capacities. So we can do this for you as well. We can write these XML files. We have programmers for this. But if you have your own programmer, or you have a resource, an XML programmer, you can do this by yourself, very simple. Just giving you an example. So this is one of the simplest examples, honestly. But we had a case in Morocco where we needed to connect robotics cameras to PTZ cameras, to control PTZ cameras and their presets. So the robotics camera has their own video content analysis inside the camera, and it gives out this data via HTTP streaming. So for one of my colleagues, it was the task to write this XML file to generate out of these HTTP messages the events we wanted to see. This job was done, honestly, within half an hour. If you have a more complex scenario, it's taking longer for sure. But at the end, it's a very simple tool to enable your customer to speak with his VMS to third-party systems. So as I said, every server can handle up to 64 channels. So if you have, for example, a multi-site system, you can fit each site, each recorder on each site with its own channels. So I think 64 channels are fairly enough. Maybe also the question is coming up, okay, what would it cost? It's already content of the first license that you are buying from us. So and the rest is on yours or on the cooperation between you and us. And let me speak about other possibilities that we have. We have also an output driver for bidirectional communication. So like we can receive information, we can send also information out to a third-party system. It's a bit more complex, but it's also fair to think about it. We have HTTP command IOs to trigger cameras to do something. We can send out post and get commands. We have, for more complex scenarios, APIs that you can use or your developers can use. And at the end, maybe also sometimes interfaces to third parties are extremely complex. So maybe it's also worth to think about to use a third-party translator or translator software to integrate a very complex system into ours. Just to name, for example, OPC. There are OPC to TCP/IP translators that easily can be integrated into our system. So you do not need to think about OPC integration. You can use third parties as well, which are speaking standard via a standard interface. All right, so that was a quick overview. I do hope that it gives you ideas now, a lot of ideas what you can do with your customers or your system if you are a customer. So I would like to see your questions right now. So let's have a look. If somebody has a question. Yeah, I'll give you some time. I know typing is very hard sometimes. All right, there are some. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Can you exemplify the different types of data that Mirasys can extract from video? Yeah, all right. This is a different story, honestly. As you may know, we have our motion detection scenarios for indoor and outdoor, so we can use motion detection in the internal, but also in the outer environment to identify motion. That's the simplest way. From video as well, we can use also our video content analysis, maybe also very interesting for you, that we are also improving our video content analysis all the time. So in that case, we can differ between, for example, a person and a car, or some smaller, let's say, rabbits or something like that. So we can eliminate them. We can use tripwires, we can use areas of interest, we can do people counting, we can do crowding or whatever. So this is really a theme for a different webinar. So if you are really interested, I can send you some more detailed information. We can stay in contact. So just leave your email address and I will stay in contact with you. Okay, beside video data, this is another question. Beside video data, which other data sources can be integrated? All right, okay, I'm coming back to my first slide. I'm sharing this with you again. Yeah, you see, these are the resources that we have right now, or the interfaces. If a system is speaking via TCP/IP, UDP via an RS-232 interface, or it's just an HTTP client or HTTP server, we can connect to this. So, and then it depends on what they're saying in what language. So it could be an ASCII message, I repeat it again, or it could be any XML oriented message that we can receive. And again, we can validate this. So I do hope this is answering your question. Okay, then was another question. Will you share a presentation or at least part with examples? Sometimes needs to show to customers. Yes, for sure. So this webinar, again, is recorded. It is presented on YouTube within the next couple of days. Also, the mentioned guide for the interface can be shared with you. There is no secret behind this. And if you want to have a presentation, this is coming from Maxime. Yeah, I can share this with you, or my team can share this with you as well. So no problem. Whatever you need, let us know. And even if it should be, for example, an online presentation from one of our technical guys, we can do this for you as well. There is no issue. Please let us stay in contact with that. Okay, 3 questions. Very nice. Any other requests that you have right now? Oh yeah, how we are going to communicate with third-party device without UDD channel? That's a tricky question. So the UDD channel is essential for us to communicate in that way. But maybe also you mean the third-party systems that are not communicating in that way. So the simplest way is really also to use, for example, our IOs or an IO interface to communicate in the simplest way, just receiving an information from a relay or sending out a relay information. That's the simplest way. There are also other ways. I mentioned before the API. So with the API, you have much more capabilities to integrate other systems or to communicate into other systems. So that would be another way, but in that case, we need to talk in deep what kind of third party it is, how the interface is looking like, because if this kind of interface is not speaking in a let's say in a standard way, we should really analyze how it is speaking, what the format is, and then we can give you an offer or an answer to this. So this is coming from an anonymous user. If you are really interested, please send us your information, your details, your contact details to sales@mirasys.com, and we will stay in touch with you. Okay. I think there are no other questions right now. I do hope that I have given you some ideas, some fantasy, what you can do. And I also appreciate if we stay in contact with regards to your requests, with regards to your cases, that we can going side by side to your customer and give them better ideas what they can, how they improve their existing VMS, how they can have a better usage of the video contents, how they can connect better to third-party systems. I would appreciate if you would share with us your time for the next video webinar, which will be held on the 2nd of June. And in this webinar, we will show you how the new Grafana reporting tool plugin is working. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day and stay healthy.